Hello everyone and welcome to the FPL Cougars show. I'm Chris.
I'm Kieran.
And today we're looking ahead to blank Gameweek 29. Only 4 fixtures coming this weekend and Kieran and I are going to look ahead to each of them right now. But first, we're going to look back at Gameweek 28 that has just recently finished. Keek, how did you get on?
58 points. 58 points twice in a row, actually,
nice.
Weirdly, which I suppose doesn't really ever happen. But yeah, so I went, last week it was a horrible red arrow down to 313k, so with the 58 points. But this time it was a nice green arrow back up to 264k, so 313k was the lowest I'd been since like, I don't know when, but it was a long time actually. So I think since week 16ish was so the last like 13 odd weeks I've been around the 100,000 mark, and it was a big drop last week, but back up to 264k.
Nice.
So
yeah.
I don't know, the sort of rise is back on again hopefully. But Meslier, another 11 pointers 2 weeks in a row of being a hero again. So obviously with the pen save last week, and then this week he had the obviously unexpected clean sheet, I suppose, versus Chelsea, with I think 8 saves. If he got one more, he would have had a huge 12-pointer. But obviously still got all the 3 bonuses, so that was nice. And then my only other returns in my whole squad was Stones with his goal and clean sheet, and then Cancelo with an assist and clean sheet. So literally everyone else blanked, with Veltman, Konsa, Fernandes, Salah, captain, Rafinha, Bamford, Antonio and Kane, all of them blanking. It's just so all of my points basically came for 3 returns from defenders.
Wow. And Veltman was your transfer in, wasn't he, ahead of, really, with this game week in mind?
It was him or Lascelles, wasn't it? I was talking about last week, and obviously I went for Veltman.
Oh, no.
Lascelles went and scored. So Lascelles will probably score against Brighton this week and confound the pain.
I'll try not to think about that. And it was captaincy. You made a sort of felt like a bit of a late call on Salah, and obviously he was in the last game of the game week. Did you kind of think like all the other big hitters had blanked, and this was your big chance?
Yeah. It was Bruno. I was like, I'm going to captain Bruno, and then I thought, I'm going to stick it on Salah because I feel like he's probably actually going to do the best, because I thought obviously West Ham being good defensively. So Salah to play against Wolves, who've had one of the worst sort of defensive records lately, I thought that would be a good chance. And like you said, and just that one chance that really gains the ground after everyone else blanking. It just it could have defined my season. It could have got me back up to the 130k ish mark possibly, and I would have been really happy if he returned basically at all. But not to be. So at least he got a clean sheet point.
Yeah, exactly. No, I had a slightly worse week than last week. No repeat of the 48. So I think I had a small green arrow up to 550k. Majority of my points, like you, in defence from Stones and Cancelo. I was actually quite surprised to see how heavily transferred out they were. I mean, everyone knows what Pep's rotation's like, and I suppose if you've had them a while, you probably had them when they were fairly inexpensive. Anyway, so I was pleased to see those 2 return. I captained Bale for a bit of a differential, a bit like you, and it didn't go very well. Subbed before 60th minute, and a bit disappointing. But then it wasn't really any of my attackers that did much better. Fernandes obviously got the 3, Rafinha 3, and it was only Calvert-Lewin of my 7 attackers that actually returned anything. And after captaining him in the double game week and triple captaining him in double game week even recently, I've got no desire to captain him again anytime soon. So he was never an option. So yeah, I can't really hate on that score too much really. And it's like you say, onwards and upwards for the rest of the season and how we tackle this coming blank game week.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention I obviously still own Sterling, who I expected to play, and didn't play 2 games in a row. And people are like, he's rested for the Champions League, but rested 2 games in a row, like really? And he was rested in the Champions League as well. Yeah, rested, So 3 games in a row he's not played now. But he'll probably come back for Leicester and probably do well. So do I want to sell him? I don't know. At this point. I
mean, you can't just. I don't know. Like you say, he's been dropped for quite a lot of games. Gundu and KDB got benched. I mean, Pep is really rotating heavy. Like the fact that these players are sometimes not even coming on at all. I mean, lots of players had captaincy and vice captaincy on Gundu and KDB this weekend. Obviously, I got an auto sub single point off Bamford, but for a lot of people, it just it didn't go well. And I think if I had Sterling, I'd be really thinking about getting rid of him ahead of this blank, because there's no guarantee he's even first choice now.
Yeah. I think I'll probably sell him for Bale, which seems like the obvious choice, and then I'll probably sell Bale again next week to get KDB in for the last game. That seems fine.
Are you really keen on KDB?
KDB seems quite good at the moment. Yeah, he seems like he's performing well now, back in sort of form. So yeah, I'd like to get back on it because he's still low owned, isn't he? So, yeah.
He's a big chance of jumping up in the ranks. All right, I'll bring up our previews on screen now. You, as everyone's going to notice, you're going to have, at the moment, 9 players out for Game Week 29. That's bearing in mind if Bamford played, and you've got 2 free transfers to make it a full 11. I've got quite a lot less, really. I've got 7 playing at the moment with 2 free transfers, so I can get up to 9. I don't think I'm going to take an extra point here to get a 10th one. I may do if it looks like it got some good fixtures, but I'm quite happy about it at the moment. Well, should we just run through the fixtures and then have a recap about what we're going to do perhaps at the end? All right, should we start first with, you've actually got a benching dilemma. Can you believe it? In a blank game week, is which of the 2 goalkeepers in this fixture plays, the Areola or Meslier?
So I'm going Meslier at the moment just because I feel like I've got 2 attackers for Leeds, so what's the point of playing Areola?
Yeah.
And then I may as well just go all in on the Leeds defence as well. So I may as well just go on Leeds as it is in general, and then their clean sheet against Chelsea is going to give them confidence, isn't it? So Fulham like for XG as a team at 18th overall, so I'd imagine Leeds have a decent shout at keeping a clean sheet. So as much as sort of Fulham do, I suppose. I think they're both obviously fairly even matched, I guess. Yeah. As sort of attack versus defence wise. So it could be a drab 0-0, which sounds boring, but hopefully not. So I think Meslier probably won't get many save points. Save points is probably in Areola's favour, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So, but I think the clean sheet is probably more likely for Meslier. Anyway, so XG wise for Fulham, they got 4.96, so 18th of a set, and they've only scored 2 in the last 4 weeks. So, and then XGC wise 5.66, which is 8th overall, but that's 4 conceded with 3 of those versus City. So, if you take out the XG over the last 3, without those 3, they only can actually against City they only actually conceded 1 over the last 3 games. So. Anderson at 4.5 million, I think, is also a sort of shout towards the end of the season as well, possibly 0.5% owned. He's had 6 shots overall, puts him 4th of all defenders, which is quite good. Obviously, 0 big chances, 3 key passes, which is not bad for a centre-back. 0 big chances created. XG of 0.41, XA of 0.26. So he has some threats from corners. I'm not exactly recommending him or Areola or any of those guys this week, because obviously you would probably think Leeds, you'd expect to score at least. So, there's none of them for Fulham I really like at all. Lookman, 5.1 million, 10 key passes, which joins 6th of all mids the last 4 weeks, which is obviously all right. But then the rest of his stats are absolutely atrocious, so I'm not even going to bother talking about them, because key passes, it doesn't really equate to much, to be honest. It's just a key pass in a good area, which isn't even a big chance creator or anything like that. So, it's just, I think if you've got one of them, you play them and then you just deal with it and just hope for the best. But I wouldn't be bringing in Fulham players this week. No,
I kind of agree. I kind of feel like this is going to either be like you say, a 0-0 or a low-scoring Leeds win. The fact that looking at Leeds' team, I think it's now 5 of their top 6 scoring or point scorers in the last 5 appearances have either been the defenders or the goalkeeper. Like, they've fallen off a little bit in front of goal recently. It was the double the last time that we saw much attacking output when Rafinha was starring. But you've got Meslier, Dallas, Ayling, Struch, I think that's how you pronounce it, Strujic, something like that. So those I've taken a wild guess and I've gone for it. But those players all scoring well because they've had 2 clean sheets in the last 4. And I think if you're going to get a Leeds, or if you're going to get a Leeds defender in this week, I think it should be Dallas or Meslier. And I can see them keeping a clean sheet here. And I kind of agree that it's good for you to play Meslier over Areola. And
the good thing about at least having Leeds players is obviously next week they've got Sheffield United at home, so that's obviously a great fixture to keep, because I was thinking of wildcarding it straight after this blank, but I'm thinking I'll delay it 1 week, do 31 instead, because just so I can keep these Leeds players for that game, because obviously they just got trounced by Leicester 5-0 and no manager or no good manager, so it looks like Leeds should feast in that one. So one last hurrah for the Leeds players, possibly.
Definitely. No, I'm looking really strongly to get Dallas in. I mean, 26 points in the last 5 games. That's like second highest of all Leeds players after Meslier's had 2 shots in the box in that time, 4 key passes, 1 big chance created. I kind of feel like if there's going to be a defender that hauls in this one, from like an attacking point of view as well as defensive one, it's going to be him. So yeah, Dallas is probably likely going to come into my team, and he may even be, I mentioned a minute ago, I've got 2 free ones, he may even be the sort of additional extra -4, because I know that, like you say, he's got a good fixture in game week 30 after that. So yeah, he could be well worth having. On Bamford, I just wanted to mention that he's now blanked 3 times in a row. He hasn't blanked 4 games in a row this season. He's only blanked 3 times in a row, 1 other time. How do you feel about owning him at the moment? And I mean, it's good to have him for this game week. It sounds like he's going to be fit, but long term after this, do you think is your time running out on Bamford? It looks like Rafinha's sort of taking the mantle as the one to own from an attacking sense.
Yeah, so obviously long term after Sheffield United, they got Man City, Liverpool, Man United in a row after that. So those 3 look pretty awful. But then the run-in looks pretty good, actually. So Brighton, Spurs, Burnley, Southampton, West Brom. But they're probably going to be safe by that point. Are they going to be on the sort of on the beach, as everyone says? That West Brom game at home, 38, looks really good. But are West Brom going to be fighting for survival then? Who knows? So Tottenham doesn't look great. Burnley away is not an easy fixture. Southampton isn't easy either, actually. No. So even though they look like green on the official FDR, they might just be sort of avoiders. Maybe just a one-off, like a Rafinha, like you say, just to end the season. Yeah. And that's possibly it.
No, I think I'm probably going to stick with Rafinha until the end of the season. I mean, it looks like, to me, he's defied expectations, considering his price and how his form has been in real life terms has been incredible. And the fact that he sort of pushed past Bamford as their main source of attacking points now, sort of in the last sort of 6 to 10 game weeks, he's probably going to stick around in my team. Just offers such good value in there.
Rafinha had sort of returned for 6 weeks running, and now he's blanked the last 3 as well as Bamford. So he's probably due a return as well. So hopefully it's this one.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, should we move on to Brighton against Newcastle? Cool. On the Newcastle. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, Brighton. Fixture wise, Newcastle, Man United, Everton, Chelsea, and Sheffield United the next 5. Bit awkward. I mean, I bought Veltman for the next 2, and then I'm going to probably get rid of him straight away on the wild card. Probably bench him next week versus Man United. But so team stats wise, these are sort of interesting. XG of 7.24, which is 5th of all teams, which is high for Brighton, that's for sure. 4 scored. XGC of 3.5, which is 2nd of all teams, just behind Chelsea, with 6 conceded. So they're a little bit behind on the sort of conceding, and they've been a little bit unlucky, I guess. But I don't know, their XGC, they look overwhelmingly clear favourites to keep a clean sheet this way. About 60% chance of keeping a clean sheet, apparently, according to the bookies. So I think you've got to back that. But they've been conceding still. I thought they would keep a clean sheet last week, but not happening. Obviously, I could have got Dunk. Actually, I don't think I could have afforded him, actually. So even at that point, I missed out on points from one of them. But what do you think about clean sheet wise from Brighton versus Newcastle? It's probably a 0-0 on the board. It sounds like it. Maybe a 1-0 to Brighton, something like that.
Maybe. I kind of reading I look at this one and think this is one of Newcastle's few fixtures before the end of the season where they've got a chance of winning it. They've got
for both of them.
Well, probably for both of them for fair. But I mean, Newcastle between the end of the season have got games against Tottenham at home, West Ham at home, Liverpool away, Arsenal at home, Leicester away, Man City at home. I mean, that's really rough. The 3 decent fixtures they've got is this Brighton game. And they've got Sheffield United, Fulham, and I suppose you could class Burnley as decent as well. So they've got a really tough run. So I mean, I think they've got to do everything they can do to get a result in this one. But I mean, you can't just pull a result out of thin air. You've got to have a little bit of form. And looking at their players' performance recently, none of them are really standing out from an FPL point of view, apart from the man you mentioned earlier, Lascelles, just because he's got a goal. I mean, how the hell he's outperforming most of the attacking players, or if not all of the attacking players, and scored 4 shots in the box for him in the last...
Because they suck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 4 games. I mean, it's incredible. So, I on paper, Brighton should win, given like the underlying XG and the underlying expected goals conceded. But yeah, even that Aston Villa game was a prime example of a game which looked like a dead and buried Newcastle were going to lose 1-0 at home. And in the 90 whatever minute, Lascelles scored from a corner. So, yeah, unfortunately, they've always got that threat. And yeah, it's that thing about not being able to trust teams in like the bottom 4 or 5 for consistent points. And I hope I wouldn't get too distraught if I were you if Newcastle do score this weekend.
Well, they probably will. I mean, I'm just like... Their only chance to score, I think, probably is from some set pieces because they still don't have Wilson. I think he's back in training, but he's not match fit, so he's probably after the international break. And they still don't have Almiron, no Saint Maximin, so like their attack is pretty woeful. So if they're gonna score, it's probably Lascelles from a corner. Mm-hmm. So otherwise than that, I think Brighton should be able to keep them out. But so. Maybe I just need to get lucky on the corners side. We'll see. But yeah, attacking wise from Brighton, I mean, even some of these might be like worth a shout at sort of captaincy. Weirdly, I mean, I know that sounds weird, like because Kane plays Villa, who are obviously a good team. So yeah, gross 5.8 million, 0.5% owned, so obviously a differential. Looks pretty nailed on at the moment, 90 minutes in every week since week 19, and then the other one was 18 minutes he played, so obviously good there. 3 returns in 9 weeks, this obviously isn't great, but they've been pretty awful at finishing chances lately. XG of 1.15, XA of 0.87, 7 shots, 2 big chances, pretty good, 10 key passes, again pretty good, 1 big chance created. He's someone to consider. And then Trossard at 5.7 million, 1.9% owned. He's always someone I've wanted to punt on. Always wanted to get in my team at points when he goes on a little bit of a streak. He looks good. 10 points versus Saints, obviously the goal and 3 bonus. He's only not started once since week 16, so he's pretty nailed on at the moment as well. Even though everyone says there's always a sort of Potter roulette that these 2 players I'm mentioning seem to have avoided that. Highest points in the last 4 weeks for all Brighton players, which is 16, so over Dunk as well. And then highest XG of all Brighton players at 1.4. XA at 0.29, 6 shots, 2 big chances as well, same as Gross, 2 key passes, obviously way behind Gross, and then 0 big chances created. So he's lacking in the sort of stats compared to Gross, but he seems to get in the better positions, I think. So possibly worth a punt as well. You'd expect Brighton to possibly score. I think they'll score because they always look at the XG of 7.24, 5th overall. That's good. So if they're going to start to get a bit more clinical. Well, yeah, I mean, Welbeck came in last week and looked really good. He sort of linked it a lot better because he's back from injury, and that assist for that Trossard goal was quality. So possibly he is the missing link that is going to help them to finish some chances this week. I think Welbeck's not a bad shout either, actually, even though I haven't mentioned him. I think he looked great last week. So, yeah. It's
just amazing how much disparity there is between their shots in the box and their shots on target. I mean, in the last 4 game weeks, they've had 41 shots in the box and less than half of them have been on target. It makes me think that if you're looking to be punty on a free hit, that someone like Dubravka might not be a bad shout. I mean, Brighton notorious for having quite a lot of shots. Dubravka racking up some save points. He's only been back in the team 3 game weeks now. He's had 3, 3, and 6 in terms of saves, and his general points are 3, 7, and 5. So in the last season and the season before that, he played every single minute for Newcastle, and he racked up 143 points, 131 points. He was a reliable goalkeeper. So if you're on a free hit and you're looking for a differential goalkeeper that isn't Meslier or Areola, then Brighton are sometimes and quite often pretty woeful in front of goal, so Darlow could be palming them out.
I mean, he's got a low floor or sort of a high floor, actually, is what I meant to say, and then sort of a low ceiling, if that makes sense. So he's got those sort of save points that are definitely going to come against Brighton, I think. So, yeah, he's not a bad shout.
All right. Any more to say on that one, or should we move on to West Ham against Arsenal?
Yeah, they're all a bit boring, so let's keep going.
Yeah, let's keep going. Well, Jay Lings is probably the one I'm interested in this one, because I'm feeling like I'm going to extend my love to Jay Lings, and he's going to be in my side for this coming game week. It's just he was in red hot form for West Ham before, obviously not being able to play in that Man United game. And now I just feel like I've got to get him in. He's been called up to the England squad. He's obviously going to be buzzing with that. He wants to keep the form going to make sure Southgate considers him for starting. I mean, have you got any desire to bring in Jay Lings? 15-3-6.
But versus Arsenal?
I think he's good for against Arsenal. He scored against Man City away, 5 points, got return 5 points. He got 10 points at home against Tottenham. I think he's proved he can do it in a big game so far already at West Ham.
Arsenal just stopped the trio of Bale, Kane and Son.
Yeah, that's true. But we always knew what Tottenham are flaky, and they've just screwed me at the wrong time, Spurs, because they had really bad form against some teams. I can't remember. They lost 3 in a bounce, and then they played Burnley
and Palace
and Fulham like in a row, and everyone thought they were God's gift. And now look, Arsenal brought them back down to earth. Anyway, but I think Jay Lings is a good shout.
You've got 2 of them and possibly 3.
I got 2 of them, possibly 3 of them, as everyone's going to have. Yeah, but no, I feel like Jay Lings is a good shout.
Yeah, I mean, so 15-3, 6, 10, 5, 5, and then 0 is last since he started playing. Obviously, the 0 was his lone game against United. And obviously, eye test wise, they are noticeably less fluent and dynamic in attack without him. So he's sort of their missing piece, I suppose, as well. XG of 2.53 was obviously pretty high. XA of 1.28, 13 shots, 3 big chances, 4 key passes, 2 big chances created, 2 goals, 2 assists. So he's doing well on both sides of the assist and goal threat for FPL. Obviously, that's great. So I think possibly it's not sure if you're brave enough to buy him. Instead, are you brave enough to go without him this week? That's the question. I've got that Sterling and Salah place, so I may just go for to come in. So like a Bale plus a Lingard, maybe.
Ooh, very nice. Yeah, look at that. I think I want to load up more on midfield for this game week. I think, and not quite sure how I'm going to do it yet with Gundu and Fernandes, my only 2 sort of non-playing midfielders. But I do quite fancy getting Jay Lings in somehow, and maybe it means getting Gundu out.
Oh, would you sell Gundu? Yeah, I suppose he's cheap enough to just buy
again. Yeah, I've got quite a bit of cash in the bank as well, so I'm not too worried about losing value on him because I haven't had him very long. But yeah,
how do you see their chances of clean sheets this week
for West Ham or for all teams?
For West Ham, yeah, because they've looked pretty good, haven't they? They kept Spurs. No, not Spurs. Who do they play? Man United. Man United only scored like that one sort of headed own goal thing, and they didn't have many other chances. So Arsenal could be a clean sheet. Cresswell is someone I want to mention who's obviously pretty well owned. And he's never really been a Twitter darling. I've never really considered him, to be honest, because he's been very expensive. He's 5.9 million at this point. I think he started at 5.5, so he's gone up a fair bit. And he's the highest scoring defender in the game by a long distance. And that's 135 points versus Cancelo in second on 127. And Cancelo has been, as everyone knows, the sort of person everyone really talks about as being an amazing player and quality at all times, sort of thing. So it turns out, I suppose, a defender on set pieces of a team that's chasing a top 4 spot and a team who's dominant in the air is a pretty good choice in FPL. So I mean, 12-2-1, 12-2 last 5 weeks. So there's some holes in there, and that's when he gets clean sheets as well, obviously, and they're obviously a dominant team in the air, whether he's on all set pieces, like I said. So, and Souček obviously likes to get on the end of them as well. So Dawson's obviously, I think he's got 4 goals in his last few. So his XG of 0.02, which is absolutely awful, but XA of 1.37, so 2 shots, 7 key passes, 3 big chances created. So his assist side is obviously great. And these sort of points have come while he's played most of the season at left centre back as well. So in a 3, team XGC of 4.45. So you're thinking possibly over the last 4 that they can keep a clean sheet against Arsenal as well. So I don't see why not, honestly.
I know, and it boggles me that I haven't bought him. And it would be an easy decision just to take out one of my defenders. I mean, he's got double the amount of double-digit hauls that Cancelo has this season, and everyone
exactly
bleats about Cancelo, but Cresswell's just steady. You know he's going to start every week. West Ham have been good defensively, and like you say, he's on all the set pieces for a team that take a lot or score a lot of goals from set pieces. So yeah. I think if you can reach to get him this game week, he's not a bad shout either. I can't work out Arsenal or predict who's going to get points from their team, right? So if you look at who scored the most FPL points in their squad in the last 4 game weeks, up the top we got 18, which basically works out slightly more than an average of 4.1 or 2 points per game. So it's not exactly high. We've got Lacazette, William, Pepe, Odegaard, and David Luiz, right? So they're all in the sort of top points from 18 down to 13, which is minimal. It's not anything. It's not good. But none of them have played the full complement of minutes. So as well as the fact they're not scoring highly, you haven't even got the security that they're even going to start or play 90 minutes. So I think it's really difficult, especially for a blank game week, to recommend any of their players because, one, you don't know if... Well, one, I suppose, is enough, but you just don't know if they're going to start or play 90 minutes, which is what you need as like a very much a baseline in a game week where none of the other players are playing. You've got to have some guaranteed starters. And yeah, I suppose you'll be having your fingers crossed when it comes to Smith Rowe being on the team sheet.
I imagine he doesn't start, but I think he comes on and possibly could get something. But I like you said, those are valid points to not pick people. But this week is if you're on a free hit or something like that this week, then I think you take those punts and try and put an Aubameyang in, put a Lacazette in, or a Tierney, and expect hopefully to return, because that's the sort of low owned, high ceiling players that could be massive in a swing, especially on a chip. So
was it a blank earlier in the season where everyone was going like mad over Lacazette? I kind of feel like it was.
Yeah, I think it was possibly it might have been a blank or a double, I can't remember, but lots of people got him, and I think he didn't play one of them, did he, or something?
I remember that, but I mean, he has been in decent goal scoring form recently, so he's got 2 goals in the last 4 appearances. But again, like I say, he started 2 and been subbed on in 2 of his last 4. So yeah, you're either going to get a single point or 5 to 6 points if he does get a goal. So it's a difficult one to judge.
I think Saka is worth a shout, but
is he going to be back
if he starts as well? Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot he was.
He's got like a slight knock, I think, or hamstring injury.
Maybe not then. If you've got him, then obviously play him. But that's a good sign for possibly Smith Rowe being able to play as well. That Saka is possibly out. So we'll see. But what do you think score wise for this?
I think West Ham, to be honest. I think they'll probably win to 0.
Are they the bigger London club over Arsenal now?
Well, they are in the table at the moment. I think they're 7 points ahead of them. I mean, West Ham have lost 2 of the last 3, but that was against Man United and Man City. So that's a bit hard to judge. But I mean, West Ham have been tidy and kept a clean sheet last time out. They played at home against Leeds, I think it was. So, I like a 2-0 West Ham. Yeah, I like a 2-0 West Ham. Who are you thinking for scorer? Jay Lane's on both of them.
Probably one of their set piece. Probably like a Diop, maybe, if he plays. Something like that from a Cresswell assist.
There's no temptation with you then to captain someone like Antonio?
No, I don't think so. Okay. He's not been great lately. He's due a return, but just hopefully Lingard coming back in is what helps him to get those returns. So
everyone's going to captain Kane, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean it's a week for a punt on a. But at the same time, it's not, because he's going to be so highly captained. So, yeah. The
effective ownership brigade are going to be like, oh my God, Kane. I don't know. It makes me think I want to do something different. But every time I've tried something different this season, it's not.
I don't think it's ever worked for you, is it?
No, it's not. No. I was thinking about it when I was looking at my game week history. I've captained Ings, Aubameyang, Calvert-Lewin. Captained some random players this season to try and make some ground, and Bale this past weekend, and very little success rate, to be honest, so maybe not. Alright, on to the last fixture. We did just mention them then. Aston Villa home hosting Spurs. it's a funny one because coming into this game week, I'd probably say apart from Leeds and maybe West Ham to an extent, quite a lot of people own maybe 2 or 3 players in each of these 2 teams. Probably Martinez, maybe Target, Watkins, and then Spurs, obviously Kane, Son or Bale. Probably not many people own a defender, but Reguilon has been producing returns recently.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's quite a lot of fancy interest. You've got the captaincy on Kane at the minute. Do you suspect a big Spurs win in this one?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But at the same time, I think I've got to put on him just because, like you said, he is the standout premium of all the players that are playing. And obviously there is Aubameyang, but we don't know he's going to start. Otherwise, he is the premium player that looks like he should get the armband. Obviously, didn't do well last game, but
how did he not get a yellow card as well?
I think it was against
someone. Was it Gabriel? He elbowed or something?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
ridiculous.
So XGC for Villa is 5.65, which is 7th overall, so that's pretty good. That's not good in terms for if you're expecting goals from Spurs. So and they've only conceded 4 as well. And obviously we know Martinez is a hero, and Konsa as well, been playing well, been unlucky not to get more points lately. I think obviously Martinez owners as well, obviously. As well. So this could be a boring one as well. I think Spurs away from home usually set up more defensively. They set up to not attack as much and hit teams on the counter. So I'm just thinking it could be another boring one. I think most of these games are going to be pretty boring, honestly. I hope one of them surprises me, but not expecting it. And then Villa's side, we know about all their defence, but Watkins, I mean, we know about him as well. XA of 1.70, which is first of all strikers, which is obviously good. But 3 big chances created, 6 key passes, and he's now seemingly becoming the chief creator without Grealish. He's had 10 shots still, which is obviously all right, but an XG of 0.73 compared to his XA of 1.70. So his XG of actually scoring goals for a main striker is obviously way down. And in game week 16 to 20, when Grealish was still playing, he had an XG of 2.77. So that's a massissive difference.
Wow.
That's the whole 2.2 expected goals difference over the last 4 weeks compared to when Grealish was playing. So he's obviously got his first senior England squad World Cup call up as well. So like him and Lingard, 2 players to possibly watch out for who are obviously going to be feeling confident. But I just feel like he's probably not going to do much this week either. Although he's been hitting the crossbar and the post like practically every game at the moment. So I'm lucky to have not owned him because he could have been hauling most weeks. But maybe it's this week that it comes good. But I don't know. I just don't really see it happening again.
Isn't he the player with the most attempts that have hit the woodwork this season in the Premier League by quite some distance?
Probably.
Like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, it's crazy. You were talking about Tottenham's form, and you're right. So in the last 5 away games, they've actually lost 4 and won 1. And the one they won was that 1-0 sort of almost scraped away win against Fulham. So their form on the road hasn't been particularly good. But generally speaking, Kane and Son have been good over the last 5 games. I mean, Bale's returned 40 points, Kane 31. I think Lucas Moura is a bit of a sleeper, so he's actually appeared in their last 5 games. I think he's had 1 off the bench and started the other 4. He's had 5 shots in the box. It's only 1 less than Bale's had. He's actually had 24 points as well, 2 goals in that time, 3 key passes, 1 assist. If for people who are worried if Son's going to start, it looks like Son is going to miss out, doesn't it? It doesn't look like he's going to recover in time. I think Jose said it seems like it, more likely back the week after. So I think if you're looking for if you're on like a free hit and you're looking for a 1 week punt, I think Lucas Moura is not a bad shout if you're looking to sort of triple up in Spurs attack.
And I've just seen the lineups for their Europa League game tonight. Obviously, Bale's got benched, so it seems like Bale should be a good shout to play in the to play against Villa.
Oh, that's interesting.
Dele and Lamela and Lucas all started. Lamela obviously got that red card, so he shouldn't be playing. So Dele and Lucas and Bale and Kane, you expect to play because Son's not out. So any of those could be decent punts. Obviously, Dele, Lucas, those are going to be way less owned compared to Bale. And obviously Kane. So I don't know if you play it safe and go for the Bale, who's probably more explosive, or you go to maybe a Delhi who we know has all potential because he's done it in the past, and is going to be a big differential. I think it's a hard choice because I think he should play. They should all play. It depends if you want them for 30, which I probably would, if Son is back by then. So I don't know.
Are you concerned by the fact Kane's played tonight, or are you not too worried about that? You kind of think if Kane will just play every time.
Nah, he just seems to play all the time, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he's going to be so highly captained anyway, so I don't think it'll matter too much. Your team, you got Vice on Fernandez, so you should probably change that.
Yeah, I'll change that to someone else. Which way do you think that one's going to go then to end on? Spurs haven't been good away from home.
Spurs turn up. Yeah. So a 0-0.
I almost think
0-0.
The West Ham are like the more reliable team this game week.
Think?
Yeah. What do I think? I think it's been close. I see Villa scoring, but I see Spurs coming out on top just because everyone's going to have Kane captain. So I'll say Tottenham will win 2-1, but I think it'll be close.
I don't think Spurs score at all, and I don't think Villa score, so I think 0-0 again. 0-0. Boring as hell. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's wrap up because obviously short show is only 4 fixtures to discuss. Just to confirm, then, what are you most likely to do? I mean, it looks like you're Captain Kane.
So I guess it's still Sterling and Salah. I keep getting drops on Sterling and Salah at the moment. So Sterling and Salah just to possibly get KDB next week for one of them, and I think Lingard and Bale, maybe Delhi, I guess, maybe Gross. So it could be any of those. I mean, I guess Bale just for safety, and then Lingard seems all right. But the better fixture is probably that Brighton one to take a punt rather than Lingard.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I'm gonna spread it a little bit. So I'm gonna do Walker Peters for Dallas. I'm going to do Calvert-Lewin for Kane, and then I'm also going to do Gundu for Jay Lings. And I have them cash to do that because I got quite a bit of cash in the bank from downgrading Salah last week. So
yeah, we're going to be quite similar.
Yeah, I think we are, but I won't have Smith Rowe
or
Veltman. That's all right, isn't it? Super. No, I think it's good. And then it almost feels like after we got this blank out of the way, game week 30, it's just like the home run to the end of the season. And I think I'm going to captaincy. Sorry, I should have said, shouldn't I? I'm probably going to play it safe just because everyone else will and keep myself in touching distance for the run-in. So I'm going to go Kane, and I'll probably just shift the vice captaincy back to someone else on another team. So it'll probably be Antonio or Jay Lings.
Yeah, mine's on Kane. I think I'll just leave Vice on Rafinha. He seems quite good.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair shout. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll be back sometime next week with the next show to preview game week 30. So we'll catch you on the flip side. Bye from me.